Hi, my name's Sam Price. Today, would you like to know the macro analysis of Bitcoin total, which is the entire market cap of crypto, total 3, all of the altcoins? Would you like to know where the DXY is going? That's the dollar index, the US dollar. Would you like to see where Bitcoin dominance, how much money is flowing in and out of Bitcoin as opposed to the altcoins? Tether dominance, how much money is flowing into altcoins? Would you also like to find out more about the S&P and the NASDAQ? Well, and how about gold? Let's take a look at gold. I'm going to look at all those charts right now in my Friday macro analysis. Come on, let's check it out. So the first thing we're going to look at here is Bitcoin on the weekly chart. The two bullish things that we are seeing right now for Bitcoin are that we have bounced off the 50 weekly moving average, okay? We've come pretty close to the previous support and resistance on this wick. A lot of people front run that wick to wick, which would happen because a lot of people think, hey, if people think they're going to buy here, a lot of people would buy orders before that. And then there's what's called a hidden bullish divergence. The price action swinging up while the RSI is swinging down. This would go in conjunction with also, if I pull a fib from that wick to this wick, that wick right there to this wick, it seems that we wick to the golden pocket. That's a level between the 0.618 and the 0.65 Fibonacci levels on a Fibonacci. You move from the bottom left to the top right, and it gives you your Fibonacci retracement. We like to bounce from these key levels. Even if we're bearish, we'll bounce up a little bit and then come back down. But these are key areas we're likely to get a bit of a bounce, and there's hidden bullish divergence with oversold stochastics RSI. I'd say 9 out of 10 times you're going to break this high before you break this low when you start to see this model. Does it mean it's 100%? No. Does it mean Bitcoin's definitely going to bounce? No. But what I will tell you, it's a very rare signal that you do not see a lot. The last time I saw it was right here, where you had hidden bullish divergence, where Bitcoin had moved to the upside in price, but to the downside on the RSI. And there was oversold stochastic. At the same time, when I pulled the Fibonacci from there to there, I saw that we had wicked to the golden pocket. Very exact to this level here, kind of exactly like that model. They look very similar. I mean, again, we had a huge pump up there. Does that mean we'll have a huge pump for Bitcoin? There's no guarantees, but the odds look likely that we will get some type of move up for BTC over time here. Again, that's the macro for Bitcoin. It's not guaranteed. Right now, the daily is toying and playing with the 200 MA. And, you got to look at this like it's a bear flag that kind of faked its way out. Looked like we were going to break out, make a higher low, and then it's back inside the flag. Said there's a good chance right now that this is going to continue lower and that Bitcoin's going to head somewhere down to 73,000. That would be the measured move. So there's your bearish scenario for Bitcoin. Your bullish scenario is somehow you get back above that daily 200 MA, but we played that already and we really didn't get that card. That did not play out as such. So it does look more bearish than bullish for Bitcoin. And the odds are that this could come further down unless you can get back above that daily 200 MA. So in the next week, Bitcoin must get back above this daily 200 MA, this yellow line. Otherwise, like if you get a candle above that, I flip bullish again and there's a chance we could rip. Right now, because we're below it, I'm more bearish that we're going to drop further down to 72,800. So watch your daily 200 MA. Right now, it's not in the best place. Your 1 hour 200 MA as well, which was holding, is now losing the 200 MA, which is also a bearish sign that there may be more downside to come for Bitcoin. So just things I got to show you today that are bearish, and they may play out later on into today. But that, those are not bullish signs for Bitcoin. So the bigger time frame, there's a chance. But the daily right now is showing weakness for the bulls. We take a look at the total market cap, and you'd think that would follow basically with Bitcoin dominance up so high. And it's basically the same exact story, morning glory. This would eventually turn into a bear flag like it did with the fake out to the upside now. And then the measured move would take you all the way back down to the, basically these diagonal bottoms here on the bottom of these channels. Now, could we eventually bounce from there and bounce? Maybe, there's a chance. But right now, that does look more bearish than bullish for the total market cap. And that would send you somewhere down to about $2.41 trillion. So it's basically in the same boat. We have this beautiful uptrend. We've revisited previous support as resistance. We are on weekly support. Like when you look here on the weekly, the key is that was resistance. We have come and revisited it. If we lose that support, we're going to drop down to 2.26 trillion. So right now, the total market cap is holding right there, but barely. You know, if I pull away the daily flag there, but very, very just barely holding support. We really need to see the weekly candle close green and get another candle up and show that this support is holding for the bulls to really step in here and show that we're reversing price. Total 3 is going to probably look somewhat similar with a bit of a tweak, but pretty similar too. Similar idea. Previous support is resistance. We really need that weekly support to hold. And then when you look at the daily is just, again, lost the 200 MA. So it looks identical basically to what we just showed you for Bitcoin. And you've lost the 200 MA. You're in basically what to me looks like a bear flag. And you've got a measured move. And unless you can get back above that daily 200 MA, I have to assume the probabilities that I've backtested in my life that we are going to drop further down somewhere to $694 billion, and the altcoins are going to lose some more value here. There's a chance this is like a very strange right shoulder that's ahead, and we're going to make some, this is my open-mindedness here, that we're going to make some type of right shoulder and get our way out of here, and that could happen. And I'll be open-minded one step, one day at a time, but it's starting to look pretty bearish for these altcoins right now. The bullish scenario, get above this level. You can see there's heavy resistance here. Break that, retest 5,924, and we have a chance. We have a chance to win and get through this gap. But right now, the odds are more likely we're going to the downside. Let's take a look at the DXY, which also pumps when the market isn't too great. And if you look at the 1 hour right now, it's actually looking like it wants to make a move to the upside. Like, look at this. That's a flag that wants to pump, and that would take it up. The way the moving averages look, the way everything is set, the way you had a golden cross, that definitely looks like you're going to pump on the DXY, which means people might be selling off stocks and risk on assets. So that also tells me to be careful. Next week, we may get some more downside. This is going to bring me into Bitcoin dominance. And if the market's really bad, what happens is Bitcoin dominance dumps and Tether dominance also will pump. Sometimes Bitcoin dominance can also go up. We're looking for Bitcoin dominance to bounce here. If Bitcoin is somewhat bullish and somehow saves the day, we're going to get a bounce here for Bitcoin dominance. Let me show you the big picture because I got a lot going on. So if you look at Bitcoin dominance in a nutshell, you can see that it was forming this, flag, right, that started to get very tight. Now, when the market dumps, people jump into Bitcoin to save themselves from altcoin dumpage too. So Bitcoin dominance can pump up when there's a dump in the market because people will just run into Bitcoin instead of their altcoins, even though the whole market's going down. So if you can see Bitcoin's going to pump, but look, there's a bearish divvy there. I don't know. It just looks like it may roll over too as well and start to, I don't know. It doesn't look amazing. You got some bearish divergence on the dominance, but you are above a previous support. So here's the deal. You could get a breakout. Let's take a look at like the daily. Yeah, the daily's oversold, suggesting, and you are above the 200 MA. Very nice. So right now you're in an uptrend on the daily. So we have to assume this trend will stay up until it doesn't, which will show you that Bitcoin dominance actually does eventually want to break out, which is bullish for Bitcoin unless Tether dominance wants to dump. So now we look at Tether dominance, and this is how you really figure out what's happening here. So now when we look at Tether dominance, we saw how this looked like a descending triangle. It dumped, got back inside the pattern. The descending triangle made the falling wedge, which was what happened. And then that could try to make a bit of a move here on the daily. So here's the deal. Looks like you're going to get a little bit of a dumpage here. Tether dominance gets moved up, but couldn't make them, if Tether dominance breaks above 575, boom, boom, boom. It's going to spell that there's going to be people harboring into Tether. If you can kind of make a right shoulder here or get resistance, shoulder, head, right shoulder, and it's going to start breaking further somewhere to about like 4.48%. Right? It is oversold. Right now, it's suggesting it's going to get a bounce. So right now, it's showing signs of stress in the markets, and this shows stress to Bitcoin, but also like if Bitcoin's showing stress, it can, it tells me that there's stress in the S&P and the NASDAQ too as well. Let's take a look at the now I'm going to move. Now I'm going to move into the S&P futures. All right, and see what's happening to the S&P. So we were looking for this beautiful bottom. We got it. 3 days of pumpage back to the sideways movement. Again, it could roll over here. It could even make a higher low. We want to see some type of cup and handle, maybe like a right shoulder breakout. We are a little overbought. The 3-day chart, though, still somewhat nice, but man, the candles didn't play well for us, right? So we're looking for this inverted head and shoulder to break out. That's your bullish scenario. What's your bearish scenario for the S&P? The bearish scenario, let's take a look, is you made this rising wedge. You broke out of it. And unless you can get back above this support, you're going to create some type of bear flag here. You may go sideways and up, and eventually this will go further down. And you'll dump down to the 200 MA here. Your bullish scenario is you're going to make an inverted head and shoulder. Like I've been showing, we'll bounce on out of here. They'll get money printing going. You know, the Fed said that they didn't say they're printing money just yet, but they said they're going to stop selling off as much equity as securities as they were before, which means that's quantitative easing, right? Which is basically inflation without saying it in a way, which I don't know how they can't cut rates and do that. So I don't know, man. It looks like they're going to expand that money supply, right? M2 money supply looks like it's going to expand too. So it's weird. In the fundamentals of money printing, it looks like more money is going to be printed, which to me does not make sense that the S&P cannot pump. So when I go by fundamentals, you know, even though the charts look somewhat more bearish, the fundamentals tell me, hey, how are you not going to get an inverted head and shoulder here? But the charts are saying, hey, bear flag is approaching. Again, it's one of the most mixed times I've ever seen in trading in general, in all the markets. I've never seen so many different people with so many different takes. I stay bearish when I'm below the daily 200 MA. I stay bullish when I'm above it. The S&P's got to get back above it, but it's hugging a higher low here. So there's a chance this is like a shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we do bounce. In the next week, basically by next Friday, and when I do this update, it would be you know, more bullish to see us back above the daily 200 MA. If this is still going somewhat sideways, it's more likely this is a bear flag and they're going to dump us further to the downside here. It still is hugging a higher low. And, you know, quantitative easing seems to be around the corner, already is beginning, which tells me that there has to be some money printing going on, which would push the price of stock market to the upside. And then if we get that rate cut, which won't come now for 2 months, but so inverted head and shoulder looks likely. But I do want to show you that, you know, right now at this present moment in time, it's going to take a few days for us to get more confirmations. And there's both a bullish and a bearish scenario here for sure. We take a look at the NASDAQ, and it's basically going to be the exact same analysis, like no different. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. But can you get back above that daily 200 MA? Are you instead making some type of bear flag? That could then just basically take us really far down, right, with a nasty measured move. Can you get back above that previous support, which is now resistance? Bounce, bounce. That's an SR flip. Or are you about to tumble down to the downside? I'll tell you what, the way the DXY is looking, the dollar looks like it's about to pump, which tells me that there's going to be a drop in the NASDAQ and the S&P. But we've had some sketchy up and down price action. And again, like I've said, that is technically a higher low on a wick and on a Friday afternoon. If we close soon, you know, we'll close at 4 o'clock today. But man, pretty sketchy. The 3-day chart suggests, yes, you have bottomed, you're going to bounce. And you already have bounced with this, you know, double bottom here. And just give it time to you know. So let's see what happens on the daily in the next few days. Again, like I said, get above that 200 MA, everything changes. We get that bounce. Last but not least, I'll take a look at gold. And gold, all-time high. And that's something we've just been spot on for, right? We gave you this flag, nailed it. We had this flag, nailed it. The secondary flag that I gave you. And I said, gold's likely probably going to be up when we come back here next week. And let's take a look here, like the 1 hour. Yeah, so the 1 hour's in that flag. We blasted to the upside. Bang, bang, bang. And this is when I was here basically on the 14th of March right there. These are perfect. Yeah, it's the 21st. And I drew this and said we're likely going to pump. We did. We have since broken down a little bit. Now let's see what I see happening for gold on the bigger time frames. Now, gold's been on a massive tear. You'd think it would eventually kind of start to pull back now. It's kind of blow off top to an all-time high. All-time high, sideways, all-time high, sideways, all-time high, pullback, pullback. you know, likely to get some type of macro pullback on the all-time high. Really want to look at gold on the weekly too as well. And you can see it just completely ripping. It is overbought here now. For me, because of what we're seeing, I would look for gold just to consolidate on the weekly. 5 to 6 weeks of sideways price action, and then it'll probably rip again. I see if they keep printing money now, gold will just continue to go up in value. This could be the golden age for gold. You know, gold's been suppressed. The price of gold and silver have been suppressed. Like, it should have been way more valuable than it is. And, you know, over time, I can see gold continuing to go up in value. I see, you know, maybe a movement down there back to 28. We could go up and down, but I see over time gold continuing to 35. Everybody, as you can see, it's a very, like, sketchy week. Price action is looking more bearish. There's a chance a few things could change throughout the week that could push us bullish, but we're going to wait for those confirmations. So right now, it's hard to call the macro analysis per se like I can. Some weeks I'm like, next week will be higher. I can see the probability. This week is not as cut and dry. The probability looks more bearish, but there is a chance the bulls could pull off a miracle somewhere Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll be live every single day, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., keeping you updated as to what's happening and let you know where the markets are going. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications to find out when I post my next video. And if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life.